Every year, North American gardeners spend an estimated $2.6 billion on pesticides. A meaningful chunk of that money goes toward killing insects that were actively working in their favor. Only about 1% of insect species are actually pests. The other 99% are either minding their own business or doing jobs you would otherwise have to pay for. The pesticide doesn't know the difference. That's your job. Number 4 on this list looks like a pest, has always looked like a pest, and most gardeners have been killing it on site for years. Number 7 is one you've definitely tried to get rid of, but the full story is more interesting than you'd expect. And number 11 isn't even technically an insect. It's on the list anyway. The numbers make a strong case. Here's the list. Number 1, the ladybug, larva, and adult. Everyone knows the adult. Red, spotted, charming. People put them in children's books. What almost nobody knows is what the larva looks like, because the larva looks nothing like a ladybug. It looks like a tiny, dark, spiny alligator with orange markings, and it moves fast. Most gardeners who spot one assume it's some kind of threat and remove it immediately. That is the predator. That is the one doing most of the actual work. A ladybug larva can eat up to 40 aphids per hour. The adult eats aphids too, but the larva is the serious one. Both stages also go after mealybugs, whiteflies, scale insects, and spider mites. Across a full life cycle, one ladybug can take out several thousand aphids. So if you see something that looks like a tiny orange spotted alligator crawling on your leaves, which, to be fair, is a sentence nobody ever expected to read, leave it alone. Number 2, the green lacewing larva. The adult lacewing is lovely. Pale green, big iridescent wings, floats around like it has nowhere urgent to be. Most gardeners leave it alone, but it's the larva that earns its place on this list. Lacewing larvae are called aphid lions. That name was chosen by someone who watched one work. They consume between 100 and 150 aphids over their larval lifetime, according to Clemson Extension, and they also take out small caterpillars, beetle larvae, mealybugs, and mites. The adult females lay each egg on a tiny silken stalk, lifted off the leaf surface so predators can't reach them easily. When the eggs hatch, the larvae start hunting immediately. Adults feed on nectar and pollen and are drawn to dill, coriander, yarrow, and asters. If you grow any of those, you're already running a lacewing habitat. You just didn't know it had a name. Number 3, the hoverfly larva. The hoverfly has yellow and black banding, hovers over flowers, and looks convincingly like a small bee or wasp. It does not sting. It has no stinger. Its entire survival strategy is looking like something scarier than it is. Honestly, it's a solid plan. What makes hoverflies remarkable is the larva. A single hoverfly larva can eat up to 400 aphids over its lifetime, 2 to 4 times what a lacewing larva manages. The larvae are blind, legless maggots that move through aphid colonies and drain each one in sequence. Meanwhile, the adult is out pollinating your flowers, especially in cool early mornings when bee activity is still low. 1 insect, 2 jobs, 0 credit. Hoverflies are genuinely underappreciated. Number 4, the earwig. The earwig is one of the most disliked insects in the garden, and honestly, the name doesn't help. It comes from an old European myth that earwigs crawl into sleeping people's ears. They don't do this. They eat aphids. The myth was more dramatic. The earwig is an omnivore, so yes, it will occasionally nibble soft plant material. But the Royal Horticultural Society, not exactly a fringe organization, specifically identifies earwigs as valuable predators on fruit trees, where they control aphid populations without damaging the fruit. The RHS actually recommends placing flower pots stuffed with hay in your fruit trees to attract earwigs on purpose. Let that sink in. An official horticultural body is telling you to go out and actively recruit earwigs. The insect you've been squashing is a tool you've been throwing away. Number 5, the Braconid Wasp. If you've ever grown tomatoes, you've probably seen a hornworm at some point. And if you've seen a hornworm covered in small white rice-shaped cocoons on its back, that's Braconid Wasp larvae. They hatched inside the hornworm, fed on it from the inside, and emerged to pupite on the surface. The hornworm is still technically alive at that point, barely. It is not having a good time. Here's the important part. If you kill the hornworm at that stage, you kill the wasps. Move it to a corner of the garden and leave it. The wasps will finish developing, emerge, and go find more hornworms. A single Aphidius colmani wasp, one of the smaller braconid species, can lay over 350 eggs across a 4 to 5 day adult lifespan, according to Pacific Horticulture. 1 insect, 350 future parasitoid larvae. They are quiet and invisible and working constantly as long as you don't spray. We're halfway through, and if this is the kind of content you're into, the stuff most gardening channels just never get into, it would genuinely mean the world if you subscribed, liked, and shared this video. It's the main way this channel keeps growing and keeps making videos like this one. Alright, back to the list. Number 6, the ground beetle. Ground beetles are mostly nocturnal, which is why most gardeners have never seen one doing anything useful. During the day, they hide under rocks, logs, and leaf litter. At night, they hunt, and they're efficient about it. A ground beetle can eat up to its own body weight in prey every single day. Their targets include slugs, snails, cutworms, root maggots, caterpillars, and the soil-dwelling larvae of a long list of destructive insects. Several species also eat weed seeds, ragweed, crabgrass, pigweed, which means the same beetle clearing your cutworm population is also doing low-level weed management in your top layer of soil. There are roughly 2,600 species across North America. They live 2 to 3 years in good conditions and overwinter in perennial plants and clumps of grass. Every time you bare your soil or hit the garden with a broad-spectrum spray, you're ending the night shift. Number 7, the ant. Here's where it gets complicated, and it's worth being straight about it. Ants are one of the most beneficial insects in any garden. They're also the only insect on this list that can work against you in a specific way. Certain species farm aphids. They carry aphids to fresh plant growth, protect them from predators, and harvest the honeydew the aphids produce. If you've seen ants running up and down a stem that's also covered in aphids, that's exactly what's happening. They're managing the aphids as livestock. It's genuinely impressive and also deeply inconvenient. That said, ants aerate your soil through tunneling, increasing water infiltration, and root oxygen access in ways that function like tillage without the disruption. Ant nest soil is measurably higher in nitrate nitrogen, magnesium, and organic matter than surrounding soil. They hunt caterpillars, termites, and fungus gnats. They're major decomposers. And over 11,000 plant species rely on ants to disperse their seeds, a process called myrmecockery, with one study finding that ant-dispersed plant populations produced 90% more offspring than those without. Ants make up an estimated half of all insect biomass on Earth. The aphid farming is worth managing on individual plants when it becomes a problem. A full campaign to eliminate ants removes a system you can't replace. Number 8, the Tachinid Fly. The Tachinid Fly looks like a housefly. A slightly larger, slightly bristlier housefly that seems to be hanging around your dill for no obvious reason. Most people see it and move on. According to the University of Maryland Extension, that unremarkable-looking fly is second only to parasitoid wasps in the total volume of pest insects it kills across North American gardens annually. There are over 1,300 species of Tachinid fly in North America, and different species have evolved to target specific pests. One species attaches its eggs to Japanese beetles. Another targets stink bugs and squash bugs. Others go after hornworms. The larvae develop inside the host and kill it from the inside when they emerge to pupate. You never see this happening. You just see the fly sitting on your cilantro looking like it's doing nothing. It is very much not doing nothing. Number 9, the assassin bug. The assassin bug has a name that fits. It injects digestive enzymes into prey through a curved, hardened beak, then drinks what's left. It can take down prey bigger than itself. Its targets include caterpillars, aphids, beetles, stink, bugs, and flies, and it's active at both the nymph and adult stage, so it's working the whole season. One important note, don't pick one up. The assassin bug will bite if handled, and West Virginia University Extension describes the bite as more painful than a bee sting. You don't need to relocate it, befriend it, or interact with it in any way. Just recognize it, know what it's doing, and leave it alone. Think of it as a contractor. You don't need to make friends with your contractor. You just need them to keep showing up. Number 10, the dragonfly, adult and larva. The dragonfly has a 95% hunting success rate. That number comes from a 2012 study in the journal Science, and it is not a typo. Cheetahs, the animal most people think of when they think of hunting efficiency, succeed roughly 40 to 50% of the time. The dragonfly succeeds 95 times out of 100. It is, purely as a predator, in a different category from almost everything alive. Adults eat mosquitoes, gnats, flying aphids, and small moths. The larvae live underwater and eat mosquito larvae, among other things. A small garden pond, even a half barrel, is enough to establish a local dragonfly population. Most people put in water features because they look nice. The dragonfly population that moves in is a bonus they didn't plan for. It's one of the better accidental decisions you can make in a garden. Number 11. The spider. Spiders are not insects. They're arachnids. 8 legs, no antennae, different class entirely. Any entomologist reading this is currently composing a strongly worded message. They're on the list anyway, because the numbers are too good to leave out. A single spider consumes between 2,000 and 3,000 insects per year. The global spider population, according to a 2017 study in the journal Science of Nature, consumes between 400 and 800 million tons of prey annually, more than the total meat and fish consumption of the entire human species. Most of. The prey is pest insects. Orb weavers catch flying pests in the air. Wolf spiders hunt cutworms, root maggots, and fungus gnats at soil level. Crab spiders ambush targets on flower heads. They work day and night, require nothing, and are already in your garden right now. The web you walked through this morning and brushed off your face was a functioning trap. The spider that built it started building a new one about 40 seconds later. Number 12. The tiny parasitic wasp, the ones you can't see. This last entry isn't one species. It's a category, and it's last because it's the most invisible thing on this list and arguably the most important. These are the wasps under 5 millimeters, the ones hovering around your aphid colonies and caterpillar damage that look like specks of nothing. Rutgers Cooperative Extension describes them as often providing better pest control than the larger, more visible predators most gardeners actually notice and value. The Trichogramma wasp is small enough that several individuals fit on the head of a pin. It lays its eggs inside the eggs of over 200 pest species. Not in the adults, not in the larvae, but in the eggs before they ever hatch. It is operating at the level of the pest's reproduction. You will never see it. You'll only know it was there when the pest eggs don't hatch, and you assume you just got lucky this year. You didn't get lucky. Something was working. Every time you spray, even an organic spray, you shut down every layer of the system at once. The Ladybug larva, the Braconid Wasp with 350 eggs ready to go, the Tachinid Fly already inside the Japanese Beetle, the Trichogramma Wasp working the pest eggs before they become your problem, the ants, the spiders. Gone. And next season, the pest population rebuilds faster than the beneficial one. It always does. The alternative is knowing what you're looking at before you reach for anything. That's it for today. I hope you learned something new, and I'll see you in the next one.